All right, Shalom. Kolo Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem Kakadash. Double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone who do teach and rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to the house of David, the hopeful elect. You Akim out there pushing this word in truth and sincerity. To those you liken unto a speckled bird, scattered to the four corners, and speaking in different tongues. Unto you we say Shalom. All right, this is going to be a continuation, all right, of the series, which can be found on my playlist section. All right, Sedition and 2nd Esdras 15 and 19. All right, so this is 2nd Esdras chapter 15. I'm going to start at verse 14 and ending at verse 19, and then pull a few articles that I've, been collecting over the past few days, tying into, this sedition, and ultimately, this time period, this final refining period, if you will, before the Lord returns. All right, so this is 2nd Esdras chapter 15, starting at verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able. For because of their pride the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. All right. And, I saw this article, a few days ago. I waited to touch on it, and it was all through the spirit, because then, you had the cyber attack that occurred, all right, at this, facility that basically controls 45% of the gas needed for the whole East Coast. All right, so I'm gonna grab this one first. All right, and then we're gonna go into that one, because it's all calculated. All right, as Scripture says, the Lord is a man of war. And this is a calculated war tactic, if you will. A tactician at work. All right, so first we see this. All right, on April 27th. All right, from CNN Business, as you see at the top, it says, coming this summer, gas stations are running out of gas. All right, and this is specifically from the New York branch of the CNN. And it reads, millions of people stuck at home for more than a year are expected to hit the road for much needed post-pandemic vacations this summer. All right. And the reason why, they're saying post-pandemic is ultimately because of that jab is out now, so now people, according to Esau, they now have liberty, to return to some measure of normalcy. All right. And basically, I remember in the UK, I believe, early on, they were offering some measure of a freedom pass. All right. Let me just see if I can find it real quick. UK freedom pass. There we go. Here we go. All right, so Brits who test negative for C-19 could get a freedom pass to avoid restrictions. All right, so that's kind of what you're seeing, now. All right, with the jab, if you got both doses, now you are kind of, at liberty, to be so-called free, to do what that will, And Again, man, it shows that this place is through. But let's just go ahead and continue the point. All right. Good luck finding gas. They say not that there's a looming shortage of crude oil or gasoline. Rather, it's the tanker truck drivers needed to deliver the gas to stations who are in short supply. The National Tank Truck Carriers, the industry's trade group, somewhere between 20 and 25% of tank trucks in the fleet are parked heading into this summer due to a paucity of qualified drivers. At this point in 2019, only 10% of trucks were sitting idle for that reason. We've been dealing with a driver shortage for a while, but the pandemic took that issue and metastasized it. It certainly has grown exponentially. Indeed, drivers left the business a year ago when gasoline demand ground to a near halt during the early pandemic-related shutdowns. We were even hauling boxes for Amazon just to keep our drivers busy. A lot of drivers didn't want to do the safety protocols. We're also working with an aging workforce. Many said I might as well take it as a cue to retire. All right. So this was, again, April 27th. All right. And you have, ultimately, again, even when Esau says, 20 or 25%, or, when he says, 1,000, it's probably 5,000, if he says 100,000, you have to just, use discernment, and you either have to inflate that number or deflate it, but in this case, it's probably more like 30 to 40%, in reality. All right. And, again, the point being, they don't have, the workers anymore. All right. To get this gas out. All right. So let's just fast forward a little bit. All right. And this was May 9th. All right. I got two articles for this. This is May 9th, which this occurred on May 4th or 5th. All right, took place Friday. So if this was 9th, 876. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, so around the 5th or the 6th. All right, so fears of gas price surge after dark side cyber attack shuts Colonial pipeline between Texas and New Jersey that carries 45% of East Coast fuel. Experts call it the most significant assault on infrastructure to date in the U.S. All right, so the attack on the Colonial Pipeline took place Friday, forcing suspension of operations. It's the country's largest refined products pipeline, running from Texas to New Jersey. All right, the world's busiest airport, Atlanta, is served by the pipeline. As of Sunday morning, the pipeline remains shut down. Americans can expect a surge in gas prices if shutdowns last 5 or more days. All right, the president was briefed, yada, 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 going into it was a sophisticated ransomware attack. All right, it affected some of their IT systems. So ultimately, those systems had to be taken offline, as they say, to contain the threat, of course, because if you leave computer systems connected or you keep them online, then obviously you have the opportunity for that virus or ransomware to continue to spread and affect other components of your hardware. All right. The hackers are likely a professional cyber criminal group, and a group dubbed DarkSide was among the potential suspects, two U.S. government officials told Reuters. Bloomberg News, citing people familiar with the matter, reported late on Saturday that the hackers are part of DarkSide and took nearly 100 gigabytes of data out of Colonial's network on Thursday ahead of the shutdown. DarkSide is known for deploying ransomware and extorting victims while avoiding targets in post-Soviet states. It is believed to be based in Russia. All right. So, again, even with that being said, this could be a situation that it is based in Russia, just with everything that has been going on. All right. Ukraine, the issues over there. All right. The canal that Russia just blocked off a few weeks ago from anybody entering. All right. Let's just get a few more points to this and then go to the most recent article, which was the next day. All right, DarkSide first emerged in August 2020 and has used its ransomware on companies including CompuCom, an Office Depot subsidiary, as well as a Canadian division of rental car company Enterprise. According to data security firm DarkSide, finds vulnerabilities in a network, gains access to administrative accounts, and then harvests data from the victim's server and encrypts it. Right, so it shows that Esau, even with all his wisdom, all right, his technology is flawed. Everything that he creates, even with the desire to be as the Most High, it is flawed. Okay, that's why you have viruses. All right, that's why GMO foods. All right, though they last longer. All right, they cause more poison and more side effects to the body long term. Okay, because it's a left hand flawed method. A left-handed individual. All right, that is using flawed methods, man. All right, so that was that. And again, gas is a very important key, to living in America. All right. And this was, a day later, all right, an updated one. Because remember, they said, gas prices could surge, if it lasts more than 5 days. All right. Not only that, all right, there was already, all right, discussions, all right, as we read in the first article, all right, CNN on April 27th, that there will be gas shortages. All right, so here we go. Fast forward, about a week or two later, basically 10 days later, and then you have a cyber attack on the U.S. One of their largest fuel carriers, basically. All right. This could be the most impactful ransomware attack in history. Gas price soars as DarkSide hackers admit to downing biggest U.S. fuel pipe for a fourth day, but deny being linked to the Kremlin. All right. So as you can see here, there's a graph that the FBI released, showing, the gas going higher. All right. Which is where you can see that black, square box at. All right. And at the bottom, it reads, the FBI confirms that the DarkSide ransomware is responsible for the compromise of the Colonial Pipeline networks. We continue to work with the company and our government partners on the investigation. All right. And this shows you ultimately, all of the regions that it covers. Okay. And, clearly, even though it doesn't, run through, all right, it doesn't run through Florida, you understand that it supplies Florida. All right. You see, kind of the offshoot branches, all right, of how the pipeline also goes to other areas as well. Okay. So though it doesn't go, into Florida, that it does supply there, though it doesn't go into West Virginia. All right. What is that? Ohio. All right. Kentucky. All right. Even New York. All right. That it's supplying these other surrounding areas as well. Okay. So again, here it is. All right. Just showing the national gas price comparison. All right. Each year. Okay. And ultimately, it's getting back to that $3 mark, and pretty soon, all right, it's going to be, $3.50, $4, $5, $6, even up to possibly 10 and 15. We never know. All right. So here they go. Their goal is to make money. You do not need to tie us, with a government or look for other motives. This is basically, them letting all right, them releasing it. All right. And let's just get a few points here. Okay. Colonial said it was forced to shut down all its pipeline operations on Friday to contain the threat after becoming the victim of a ransomware cyber attack. DarkSide, a Russian hacking outfit made up of ransomware veterans, is behind the attack, the FBI says. Colonial has not yet said whether it has paid or is negotiating a ransom. The operator and the U.S. government are scrambling to restart the network to avoid fuel shortages and price hikes. All right, so again, just reiterating, all right, what we already know. Okay, it controls, basically, it transports 45% of the East Coast fuel supply, which again, that's probably more like 60%, because you have these other surrounding areas that I'm sure in some way, shape, or form, all right, have business, all right, with the smaller, local, companies that help transport, the gas from, these main locations in each state to all of these various gas stations, so on and so forth. All right. The fuel pipeline operator said it had restarted some smaller lines, but its main lines remain shut. Experts are saying that gasoline prices are unlikely to be affected and there will not be a lasting impact if the pipeline is back to normal within 5 days. Well, again, that's a lie, all right, because we know, according to scripture, specifically prophecy, all right, that this place, all right, is going to be picked apart, one by one, and we are seeing that this is just another measure of how it's being picked apart. All right. Any more than 10 days offline will result in significant fuel shortages in the Southeast. All right. And why the Southeast? All right. Ultimately, because those smaller states don't have as many, as they call it, metropolitan cities as the Northeast does. You have big places, like New York, Philadelphia, DC, even Boston. All right. You have, in the Northeast, more, bigger cities, if you will, than you do, down in Florida, down in, like South Carolina, really the only main metropolitan city that you can really think of and that comes to mind is simply Atlanta and Miami, which again, those particular areas, are known for being busy, mainly, in the summertime, but as we know, a city like New York and Philadelphia, that have great, so-called financial ramifications, they are a busy place, all throughout the year, not just only as a tourist destination, if you will, such as Atlanta and Miami. All right. All right. Just continuing further, getting, just a few key points once again, that which we already know. All right. They're basically making mention that this is, going to turn into a real world catastrophe. All right. They transport, again, 45% of the gas. So the point is made, really, man. This is something, to, keep watch on. All right. Nonetheless, we know, that, again, this is just another calculated effort. All right. Another way that the Lord, is dismantling ultimately this place. All right. Another one, CNN Business. U.S. pipeline shut down, sparks worries of $3 gas. Well, it's already about to be there. All right. They transport about 2.5 million barrels per day. All right. So here it is. If you're down for 5 days, all right, that's basically 13 million barrels, roughly, that haven't been delivered. Okay. They're in the process of restoring it. Yada, yada, yada. All right. Nonetheless, they track the number of days that the line is out of service is critical. All right. And this is coming from a head energy analysis for oil price information. And they track prices at 140,000 U.S. stations. All right. The greatest AAC, again, the greatest concern is in coastal states from Georgia north to the Delmarva Peninsula. All right. And that includes parts of Delaware, Maryland, Virginia. All right. Again, because, you don't have these major so-called cities there, so, obviously smaller populations require less resources. All right. So yeah, man, that's that, man. This is still going on. All right. Gas is going to be increasing. Okay. And then obviously you have, all right, as you see here in popular Twitter tweets, All right, you see that price hike let companies like BP, Kinder, and Energy Transfer make billions. Big banks that have invested in electricity and gas contracts before the freeze, like Goldman Sachs and Bank of America, also cashed in, right? And that's another, way of how, we know that obviously Esau, is the wicked, the slayer, and that he's, in control, because, these top, banking organizations, really going all the way back up to the elite banking families. All right. These are also calculated efforts, to make them, richer, but ultimately we know that's all for naught. All right. So I'm going to end it off right there, something to just, continue to, watch and just see where it goes, don't be surprised if they do say, the hacking group does have ties to the Russian government and isn't just a rogue organization or, whatever the case is. But nonetheless, it's beautiful to see. All right. So in closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone who do teach and rule well, and through the spirit and power, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai told us this 100% truth. Peace, love, and salutations to the house of David, the hopeful elect. You Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity. To those who liken unto the speckled birds scattered to the four corners, and speaking in different tongues, unto you, and until next time we say Shalom.